Hello everyone and welcome to another banner review with me, Umber Rays. It feels like it's been quite a while since I've done my last banner review, so it's kind of nice to be getting back into the swing of things. So what are we looking at today? Well, we are looking at the Imperial Saga banner. Yes, a collaboration on the JP side that probably doesn't mean too terribly much to on the JP side, it means something. On the global side, it's probably not going to matter too much. This is a collaboration that you guys, I believe, have never got and probably never will, because I don't think Imperial Saga has really made it over to North America. I'm not the biggest knowledge buff about this stuff, or at least this series. This is not a series I was ever into, and now that the banner's here, well, let's just talk about it. So first of all, I want to talk about the old units for new players who are wondering. First, I would say that both the 4-star unit as well as the 3-star unit are not particularly great TMRs at this point in the game. I mean, this is a Pat with 40 defense and 25 armor. I'm just saying that there might be better stuff, and you may have better stuff already, so I wouldn't worry too much about throwing tickets at this one. Now, something else to note is that this banner is kind of special, and global people will probably be angry about this, but hey, I'm glad that they made this banner this way, at least for the JP side people. Anyway, all rainbows are from the Saga units only, so even if this is a triple rainbow banner, at least it's guaranteed to be a Saga unit. So good news for those who want to get Julian, Katrina, or Emperor Adol. So let's talk about these. First of all, the regular TMR of Katrina here, well, it's okay. The big thing now is with super TMRs being able to replace the abilities or the TMRs needed. Katrina's slightly better than she was before. It should also be noted that her super TMR is a 80% attack up with greatsword materia and 5% MP recovery. I don't think this is anything special. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's fair. It reminds me of another TMR, kind of like Sephiroth's, but, you know, I mean, MP is not bad, but really, I just don't think that it is that great. Yeah, I really don't think it's that great of a super TMR. Looking at what Katrina got in her kit, though, she definitely did get a little bit of love from Alum. Being able to imbue elements on her attack is rather nice. Not only that, but some of her new abilities. It should be noted that she does get a new chaining family, which is the Red 13 chaining family. So if you're looking to make Red 13 work, this one's actually pretty good. You can make Katrina probably a pretty solid chainer with Red 13, so that's kind of cool, if nothing else to talk about here. Next up, let's just go on. She has some other interesting cooldown abilities that do some physical attacks and some debuffs on the enemy for multiple turns. They're not exactly the longest cooldowns either, 2-turn cooldowns. That's pretty readily available. She also has an AoE charm and debuff, but obviously charm is not going to be useful against a ton of bosses because pretty much every boss is charm immune, so there you go. She also has a way to enable triple cast in her kit while giving her a big buff to attack and spirit, and a 250% limit burst fill rate for 5 turns, so that's actually kind of interesting. A way to get triple cast. Only for 3 turns though, and it's on a 4-turn cooldown. So not always able to access triple cast as well as another attacker that we know. She also gets in her 7-star kit a whole bunch of modifiers, some attack up for using her TMR, or as of the 30th update, October 30th update, you will be able to use her super TMR. If you really want to wail for this girl, or maybe you wailed for her in the past. Anyway, moving on. Other than that, looking at some other, she just gets a whole bunch of modifiers for her abilities. Extra MP recovery, or her only MP recovery? Never mind. Oh wow, her kit's very old. I did not realize that at the time. But The only other thing that's interesting is she has 150% true dual hand in her kit, so again, not exactly the hardest true dual hand to build. I think Katrina has some good stuff. She has the potential to, you know, up a lot of her abilities. Just go to the Exvius database if you want to see, because it's way too much to talk about. As for her Limit Burst gets a seriously big, just a seriously big attack up. 25-25 modifier, so over 2000% is a pretty strong Limit Burst, and an AoE buff for the entire team for 5 turns. So Katrina's definitely not the worst I've seen, but would I wail for her? Probably not. Still, what a pretty sprite. This is a benefit to being on the JP side right now and doing unit. Talking about units, we get to actually kind of demo off stuff, so I actually do like that. Next up is Julian. Now, Julian, his super TMR is, well, I mean, his regular TMR is, again, one of those things that I don't think is that good anymore, but with the super TMR change, not so much, right? So basically, he gets an 80% attack up with sword and 20% defense and HP. Again, this just doesn't feel really that great by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think that this is really that good. As for his kit, he does get some extra attacks, some stacking damage on a chaining ability. Let's just go somewhere down here. It's a 62 MP, that one. Extra damage up for just using it times. He has some evasion. For himself, evade 3 attacks for 5 turns, give himself a 250% boost, fill his limit gauge, all kinds of, I guess, pretty good stuff. He has self-cures and gives himself a 5000 HP barrier for 3 turns, and heals. Like, he's generally okay. Looking at what he got in his 7-star, he also is able to wield 2 weapons, 40% chance to ignore a fatal attack when his HP is above 30%, and 60% attack when dual wielding. So he has some true dual wield in his kit. That being said, and he also gets charm resist. I guess that's a thing for him. Again, I'm not the... Can we see his animations? Cool. Nothing about Julian feels that great, and if you consider that CG Lightning is on the way, who is potentially a true dual wielder as well, and a damage... Well, she is a damage dealer, but a true dual wield... I want to see how much first before I get too excited about that. But yeah, here's the thing. Really, Julian just doesn't feel that great, and his Limit Burst isn't even really necessarily feel that strong. So yeah, feel that these two are pretty easy passes. Now the other character to talk about is Adol. Sorry, thinking about a different character. Now, originally this character was a free raid unit, and this is not a free raid unit. This is very much a unit you have to pay for. He has an ability that gives 30% physical damage mitigation to other people. It should be noted that he has single target, 10 hit, 200% physical attack, wind chaining with ignoring 50%, and adding wind, or the same thing, just a dark version. So we can add 2 different elements to him. Again, that 10-hit chaining basically means that he can partner up with Red 13, whose Red 13's chaining family of 10 hits at 10 frames is actually starting to get a little bit bigger now, which is good news for anybody who wants. And you can pair a Ghost Lion with a... whatever the hell Red 13 is. Oh yeah, he also has Light too, which is, you know, triple element selection is pretty nice, and he has an ability that can give himself some extra damage to Reapers. Yeah, just pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. It should be noted to get his Light ability, you actually have to get him into his 7-star form, otherwise you will not be able to do that. And he gets a Matsumitsu Kane, which is this ability, which is the same type of chaining except considerably stronger. It is backloaded damage, and it enables access to Strip Slash, Main Rain, Knit, and Vacuum Slitter for 1 use. So it's a pretty strong chaining ability that he can multicast to do get a couple of other abilities too. From there, Moonglow. Self 300% damage modifier with access to some other abilities for 5 turns. Enables access to Cold Weapon, Sword Barrier, Step Slitter, Solar Rays, Dark Sword, Light. Basically triple casting. So this ability is on a 5-turn cooldown and gives him triple cast for 3 turns. Doesn't feel super great because you just can't access triple cast as easily as some other units can. Other than that, his kit has just for equipment bonuses, has a fair amount of HP, MP, attack with a great sword and everything like that. He has Flash, which enables access to script for when you... Basically allows him access to one of his abilities at the end. And it looks like in total he has 150% true dual hand in his kit. Some modifiers, yada yada yada. And if you really want, you can check out the incredibly long list of abilities he does get access to, which all have basically allows him to use different abilities or kind of just get a whole bunch of different versions, but they seem to be all, unless I missed something, 10 hits at 10 frames. So again, really doubling down on the whole partner for Red 13. And I think that's fine. I actually think that's fine. Red 13 definitely needed some chain support. So this is really, really good. If you're looking for, this is probably your best option for if you want a chain partner. Although there are no guarantees, there's no step up with this banner, there's no nothing, but we'll talk about that at the end. And his Limit Burst is just a pretty strong 3-hit attack that also gives access to a lot of those, casting those abilities for 3 turns, basically triple casting. And the only other thing to talk about is his TMR and Super TMR. Now, his TMR is a 50% attack when equipped with a Greatsword and recover 5% MP per turn. This is probably okay. This is probably pretty good, if I had to guess. The other thing is Adel's Big Sword, which is his Super TMR. Great naming. 180 attack, a 1.3 to 1.7 times variance, I believe was listed. No, it's just a 1 to 1.6 times variance. Honestly, it feels pretty static, it feels pretty normal. And so I'm going to come to... Wait, hold on. We gotta see the animations. If nothing else, you just gotta see the cool animations. Look at those cool animations. Dude's got a lion. How much cooler can you be except having a ghost lion? Pretty freaking cool. Wonder if we'll ever get rid of that 3rd anniversary background. Probably after the 3rd anniversary, now that I think about it. So let me talk about this banner, the ups and downs. Because first of all, if you do get a rainbow, you're guaranteed it to be one of these 3. However, I have to really say that all 3 Super TMRs feel pretty disappointing compared to limited time Super TMRs that we've seen in the past. None of these feel particularly that great. Well, I guess you could get one of these and then just wait for the prism to show up. But yeah, none of these units feel that great. Their Super TMRs don't feel that great, and even their TMRs I just don't feel are that quite nice. Both of these guys, well, I believe Katrina is a girl. Both of them, their TMRs feel quite bad. The only TMR that I kind of like on this banner is the Greatsword up. Potentially because it might be useful with Lightning or some future units like CG Cloud, CG Squall. There are a lot of units that use Greatswords, aren't there? But really, with no limited time ticket system to help you get one of these easier, and no rainbow uprate, no nothing, this doesn't feel like that great of a banner. So Imperial Saga, unless you're a big fan of these units and you just want to, and you got Lapis to spend, I say it's a pretty easy pass. So next time I'll talk about, because this video is already 15 minutes, I'm going to cut this, do a second video, and we'll talk about Sexy Eileen and Kimono Ayaka. She's back. They're both back in a big way. See you next time.